For decades, Mark Harmon was one of television's most recognizable faces. Millions knew him as the steady star who led one of the most successful crime dramas in history. But recent reports and renewed public attention have sparked concern, questions, and intense discussion among fans. Behind the fame, Harmon has lived a life filled with major career decisions, personal struggles, and unexpected turning points. As new details emerge and old stories resurface, what is really happening with Mark Harmon today? Long before his name became known in homes across America, Mark Harmon was simply a young man growing up in a family where achievement was expected. He was born on September 2, 1951, in Burbank, California. Success was already part of the family story. His father, Tom Harmon, was one of the most celebrated football players of his generation. His mother, Elise Knox, had enjoyed a successful career in Hollywood. From an early age, Mark witnessed two very different worlds. One was filled with stadiums, competition, and athletic excellence. The other was shaped by cameras, film sets, and the entertainment industry. Many people assumed he would eventually follow the Hollywood path because of his mother's background. Instead, sports captured his attention. As a child, Mark admired athletes. He spent countless hours practicing and developing his skills. Friends and family noticed his determination. He was not the loudest person in the room. He rarely sought attention. Instead, he focused on preparation and hard work. Those qualities would stay with him for the rest of his life. As the years passed, football became more than a hobby. It became a serious pursuit. After high school, Harmon attended Pierce College, where he continued playing football. His performances attracted attention, and eventually he transferred to University of California, Los Angeles. At UCLA, Harmon stepped into a larger spotlight. The competition was tougher. Expectations were higher. Every game mattered. Yet he thrived under pressure. Playing quarterback required leadership. It demanded quick decisions and calm thinking. Teammates depended on him to stay composed even when situations became difficult. Those same traits would later define many of the characters he portrayed on television. During his college years, Harmon earned respect not only for his athletic ability, but also for his work ethic. Coaches often praised his discipline and professionalism. As old photographs from that era appear on screen, viewers can see a young athlete standing confidently on the field, focused on the next challenge. At that point, few people imagined that football would not be his final destination. Like many athletes, Harmon faced an important question. What would happen after sports? Professional football was one possibility. However, life had other plans. While considering his future, Harmon began exploring opportunities outside athletics. The entertainment industry was familiar territory because of his family connections, but entering Hollywood was never guaranteed. Thousands of hopeful actors arrived every year chasing the same dream. Most never succeeded. Harmon understood the risks. Even so, he decided to try. His first steps into acting were cautious. He appeared in commercials and accepted small television roles. These early opportunities allowed him to learn the craft while gaining valuable experience in front of cameras. The transition was not easy. Athletic success and acting success were completely different challenges. On the football field, preparation often led directly to results. In Hollywood, talent alone was rarely enough. Rejection was common. Opportunities could disappear overnight. Still, Harmon remained patient. Casting directors noticed something unique about him. He projected confidence without arrogance. He seemed trustworthy. He appeared calm even in dramatic scenes. Those qualities made him stand out. Throughout the late 1970s, he continued building his resume one role at a time. He appeared in television programs and slowly earned recognition among producers and audiences. The progress was steady rather than explosive. Yet steady progress often lasts longer. As his career developed, Harmon gained a reputation for professionalism. Directors appreciated his reliability. Fellow actors enjoyed working with him. In an industry often known for unpredictability, he became someone people could depend on. That reputation would become one of his greatest strengths. The early 1980s brought larger opportunities. Television was expanding rapidly, and networks were searching for performers who could connect with audiences. Harmon possessed a natural screen presence that viewers found appealing. More importantly, he felt authentic. He did not rely on flashy performances or dramatic behavior to attract attention. Instead, he brought a quiet confidence that audiences trusted. With every new role, his visibility increased. The young athlete from California was transforming into a serious actor. Meanwhile, his experiences in sports continued shaping the way he approached his work. Discipline remained central to everything he did. Preparation mattered. Consistency mattered. These lessons had been learned long before Hollywood ever called. As the audience watches archival footage and photographs from those years, a pattern begins to emerge. Nothing about Mark Harmon's rise happened overnight. Every step built upon the one before it. Every challenge taught a lesson. Every opportunity opened another door. By the time the chapter closed on this early period of his life, Harmon was no longer searching for a path. He had found one. The former quarterback had successfully entered an entirely different arena, and his future looked brighter than ever. Yet despite all the progress he had made, the biggest breakthrough of his career had not arrived. But the role that would transform his life forever was still waiting around the corner. By the early 1980s, Mark Harmon had established himself as a dependable actor. He was no longer simply a former college athlete trying to make it in Hollywood. He had earned his place through years of steady work, patience, and determination. Yet true stardom remained just out of reach. Hollywood is filled with talented performers who spend entire careers waiting for a breakthrough role. Some never find it. Others find it only after years of struggle. For Harmon, that breakthrough would come gradually. As television audiences grew larger during the 1980s, networks searched constantly for actors who could connect with viewers. Harmon possessed qualities that executives valued. He looked confident on screen. He spoke with authority. Most importantly, audiences believed him. Whether he played a doctor, a police officer, or an everyday professional, viewers trusted the characters he portrayed. That trust became one of his greatest assets. During this period, Harmon appeared in a variety of television projects. Each role helped expand his experience and introduce him to new audiences. One major turning point came when he joined the medical drama St. Elsewhere. The series was respected for its realistic storytelling and strong performances. Harmon portrayed Dr. Robert Caldwell, a talented physician whose storylines quickly captured viewers' attention. The role showed a different side of his abilities. He could be serious, he could be emotional, and he could command attention without dominating every scene. Audiences responded positively. Industry insiders noticed as well. For the first time, Harmon was being discussed as more than a reliable supporting actor. He was becoming a recognizable television star. As clips from the series appeared on screens across the country, his popularity continued to grow. Soon, magazine covers followed. Interviews increased. His name appeared more frequently in entertainment headlines. In 1986, a major moment arrived. People magazine named Mark Harmon the sexiest man alive. The recognition generated enormous attention. Suddenly, he was not just respected within the industry. He had become a national celebrity. Yet fame can be complicated. Many actors find themselves trapped by public perception. Being known for appearance alone can sometimes overshadow talent. Harmon seemed aware of that danger. Rather than chasing publicity, he continued focusing on the work itself. While others embraced the spotlight, he remained relatively private. That decision helped distinguish him from many celebrities of the era. He wanted longevity, not temporary fame. And that choice would prove important. Throughout the late 1980s and 1990s, Harmon appeared in numerous television movies and series. Some projects succeeded. Others struggled to find audiences. Such ups and downs are common in Hollywood. Careers rarely move in a straight line. Even successful actors experience disappointments. Harmon understood this reality better than most. Instead of becoming discouraged, he continued accepting challenging roles and refining his craft. Each project added another layer to his experience. Meanwhile, television itself was changing. Networks faced growing competition. Cable channels were expanding. Audiences demanded more sophisticated storytelling. Actors had to adapt. Harmon adapted remarkably well. His professionalism earned respect throughout the industry. Directors trusted him. Producers valued his consistency. Fellow performers appreciated his preparation and calm demeanor. By the late 1990s, he had become one of television's most dependable leading men. Yet another major turning point was approaching. A role was waiting that would define not only the next chapter of his career, but also his legacy. That opportunity arrived through a military legal drama called JAG. In 2003, Harmon appeared in a guest role as Special Agent Leroy Jethro Gibbs. At first, the appearance seemed relatively small. No one could have predicted what would happen next. Gibbs immediately connected with audiences. The character was strong but quiet, tough but fair, confident without being arrogant. Many of those qualities mirrored the public image Harmon had built over decades. Viewers wanted more. Television executives noticed. Soon, the character became the foundation for a new series. That series was NCIS. When the show premiered in 2003, expectations were modest. Spin-offs do not always succeed. Some disappear after only a season or two. But NCIS quickly proved different. Week after week, audiences returned. The team dynamics worked. The investigations were compelling. And at the center stood Harmon as Gibbs. His performance became the show's anchor. As years passed, NCIS transformed into one of the most successful television dramas in the world. Millions tuned in every week. The series reached audiences across continents. For many viewers, Gibbs represented integrity, leadership, and stability. The role elevated Harmon to a level of fame he had never experienced before. What made the success especially remarkable was its longevity. Television hits often fade quickly. NCIS did not. Season after season, ratings remained strong. The show became a cultural phenomenon. Behind the scenes, Harmon took on greater responsibilities. In addition to starring in the series, he became involved as a producer, helping shape the direction of the show. His influence extended far beyond the camera. As years turned into decades, his face became inseparable from the franchise. To millions of fans, NCIS was Mark Harmon. And Mark Harmon was NCIS. From the football fields of California to the top of television ratings, the journey had been extraordinary. The young quarterback who once wondered about his future had become one of the most recognizable stars in entertainment. Everything seemed secure. Everything seemed successful. But even the greatest success stories face difficult choices. And for Harmon, some of the most important decisions of his life were about to happen far from the cameras. Yet even at the height of success, important decisions were quietly being made behind closed doors. As Mark Harmon's fame continued to grow, something unusual happened. The more successful he became, the less he seemed interested in living like a typical celebrity. While many stars spent their lives in front of cameras, Harmon carefully protected his privacy. Fans knew his face. They knew his characters. They knew his work. But very few truly knew the man behind the fame. In an industry built on publicity, that choice made him stand out. Throughout the 1980s and 1990s, Hollywood was changing rapidly. Celebrity culture was growing. Tabloids competed for headlines. Personal lives became public entertainment. Yet Harmon rarely participated. He attended events when necessary. He gave interviews to promote projects. Then, he quietly returned to his personal life. That personal life became one of the most stable parts of his story. In 1987, Harmon married actress Pam Dawber. At the time, Dawber was already famous for her role in the television sitcom Mork and Mindy. Many celebrity relationships struggled under the pressure of fame, public attention, and demanding careers. But Harmon and Dawber approached life differently. Rather than chasing publicity, they focused on family. The couple made a deliberate effort to keep their relationship away from constant media attention. Interviews about their private lives were rare. Public appearances together were limited. For fans and reporters, this often created even more curiosity. Yet the couple remained committed to maintaining boundaries. As the years passed, they welcomed 2 sons and focused much of their energy on raising their family. While many celebrity families appeared regularly in magazines and entertainment programs, the Harmon household remained largely out of public view. This was not an accident. It was a choice. Friends and colleagues frequently described Harmon as grounded, practical, and deeply committed to those closest to him. Even at the height of NCIS success, family remained a priority. That commitment required sacrifices. Television production schedules can be exhausting. Long shooting days often leave little room for personal time. Leading a major network drama brought even greater responsibilities. Yet Harmon consistently worked to balance both worlds. On one side was a global television audience numbering in the millions. On the other was a private family life that he worked hard to protect. Maintaining that balance was not always easy. Over the years, media outlets occasionally published rumors and speculation about various aspects of his life. Some stories focused on career decisions. Others attempted to uncover details about his family. Harmon rarely responded publicly. Instead, he followed the same approach that had guided much of his career. He stayed quiet. He continued working. And he let his actions speak for themselves. That silence often frustrated gossip reporters. At the same time, it earned him respect from many fans. People admired the fact that he refused to turn every personal moment into a public spectacle. As footage from award shows and red carpet appearances flashes across the screen, viewers see a man who appeared comfortable in the spotlight but never seemed dependent on it. That distinction mattered. For some celebrities, attention becomes essential. For Harmon, attention was simply part of the job. Away from cameras, his interests remained surprisingly ordinary. He enjoyed spending time with family. He valued routine. He preferred normal experiences whenever possible. This grounded approach helped him navigate a career that lasted for decades. Meanwhile, his reputation inside Hollywood continued to strengthen. Crew members frequently praised his professionalism. Fellow actors spoke highly of his preparation and leadership. Producers appreciated his reliability. These qualities became especially important during the long run of NCIS. Television productions involve hundreds of people working together. The atmosphere on set often reflects the behavior of the leading star. Many reports suggested that Harmon set a tone of discipline and professionalism. That influence extended beyond acting. As an executive producer, he helped guide the series through years of tremendous success. However, long-running success can create new challenges. The longer a person remains at the top, the greater the pressure becomes. Audiences expect consistency. Networks expect results. The workload rarely decreases. As the years passed, Harmon faced the physical and emotional demands that come with leading one of television's biggest shows. While viewers saw Special Agent Gibbs solving cases every week, they rarely saw the effort required behind the scenes. Filming schedules remained demanding. Responsibilities continued growing. And time moved forward. By the late 2010s, fans began noticing subtle changes. Questions started appearing online. Would Harmon continue indefinitely? Was he considering retirement? Could NCIS continue without him? At first, these discussions remained mostly speculation. After all, Harmon had spent years surprising people with his consistency. Yet the questions did not disappear. As social media expanded, fan conversations became louder. Every interview, appearance, and production update generated new theories. The curiosity was understandable. For nearly 2 decades, Gibbs had become one of television's most recognizable characters. The idea of change felt difficult for many viewers to imagine. But change is a reality that eventually reaches every career. No matter how successful, no matter how beloved, no matter how iconic. As one season followed another, signs began emerging that an important transition might be approaching. The man who had spent decades avoiding headlines was suddenly becoming the subject of growing public discussion. And soon, those conversations would become impossible to ignore. Then came a series of developments that left many fans wondering whether a major change was approaching. For nearly 2 decades, Mark Harmon had been the face of NCIS. Week after week, millions of viewers tuned in to watch Special Agent Leroy Jethro Gibbs lead his team through investigations, dangers, and personal challenges. The character, had become one of the most recognizable figures on television. For many fans, it was difficult to imagine the series without him. Yet by the late 2010s, signs of change were beginning to emerge. The entertainment industry was evolving. Television production schedules remained demanding, especially for someone carrying the responsibilities of both lead actor and executive producer. At the same time, Harmon had already accomplished something very few actors ever achieve. He had remained at the top of network television for nearly 20 years. That kind of success comes with sacrifices. Long hours on set, constant travel, endless production meetings. The pressure of maintaining one of television's biggest franchises year after year. As audiences watched Gibbs solve another case each week, they rarely saw the demanding reality behind the scenes. Time was moving forward, and questions about the future were becoming more common. Fans noticed that interviews often focused on how long Harmon planned to continue. Entertainment reporters speculated about possible retirement plans. Online discussions grew louder. Would he stay? Would he leave? Could NCIS survive without him? For years, there were no clear answers. Harmon remained characteristically private. He rarely discussed long-term plans publicly. That silence only increased curiosity. Meanwhile, NCIS continued to perform remarkably well. Even as television viewing habits changed and streaming services expanded, the series maintained a loyal audience. Few shows in television history had achieved such longevity. As clips from early seasons appeared alongside newer footage, viewers could see the passage of time. The character of Gibbs had evolved. The cast had changed. Television itself had transformed. Yet Harmon remained the steady center of the story. However, no television era lasts forever. In 2021, a major moment finally arrived. During season 19, Gibbs left the team and chose to remain in Alaska after completing a case that carried deep personal meaning. The episode was emotional for fans. There were no dramatic speeches, no grand farewell. Instead, the departure reflected the character himself. Quiet, thoughtful, understated. As Gibbs stood in the beautiful Alaskan wilderness, the moment felt symbolic. A man who had spent years carrying enormous responsibility was finally finding peace. Viewers around the world reacted immediately. Social media filled with messages of surprise, gratitude, and sadness. Many fans shared memories of watching the show with family members over the years. Others expressed disbelief that such an important chapter had come to an end. For nearly 20 years, Gibbs had been a familiar presence in their lives. Now, that chapter appeared to be closing. Behind the scenes, the decision also marked a turning point for Harmon personally. After dedicating so much of his life to the series, stepping away represented a significant change. It was the end of a routine that had defined much of his professional life. The end of early call times. The end of carrying a major network drama on his shoulders each season. The end of an era. Yet, the departure was not simply about leaving. It was also about legacy. As colleagues reflected on Harmon's impact, a clear picture emerged. He was respected not only because of his success but because of how he achieved it. Crew members praised his professionalism. Cast members described him as a leader. Producers credited him with helping create the culture that made NCIS successful. For younger actors joining the series, Harmon had often served as an example of discipline and consistency. His influence extended far beyond what viewers saw on screen. Even after reducing his on-camera role, his presence continued to be felt throughout the franchise. At the same time, many fans wondered whether they had truly seen the last of Gibbs. Television history is filled with surprising returns. Characters leave and later reappear. Actors retire and eventually come back. Because Harmon avoided making dramatic public declarations, speculation continued. Could he return someday? Was this goodbye permanent? No one seemed completely certain. That uncertainty kept fans watching. Meanwhile, Harmon himself appeared content with a quieter life. After decades in the spotlight, stepping back offered something that had become increasingly valuable. Time. Time with family. Time away from production schedules. Time to enjoy life beyond television. For someone who had spent most of his adult life working in a demanding industry, that opportunity carried enormous meaning. Yet despite his efforts to live privately, his name never disappeared from public attention. The connection audiences felt toward him remained strong. Every update generated headlines. Every appearance attracted interest. Every rumor sparked discussion. That loyalty reflected the bond he had built with viewers over decades. Then, as time passed, a new wave of headlines began appearing. Fans who thought the story had settled suddenly found themselves searching for answers again. Questions spread rapidly across news sites, social media platforms, and entertainment channels. Concern returned. Curiosity intensified. And once again, Mark Harmon's name became a topic of widespread conversation. But the recent headlines would soon bring his name back into public conversation in a dramatic way. For decades, Mark Harmon built a reputation unlike most celebrities. He avoided controversy whenever possible. He protected his private life. He focused on his work rather than headlines. Yet even someone as private as Harmon cannot completely escape public attention. In recent years, his name has continued appearing in news stories, online discussions, and entertainment reports. Each new headline has generated a familiar reaction among fans. Concern, curiosity, and countless questions. The situation reflects something larger than a single news story. It reveals the powerful connection audiences have built with Mark Harmon over many decades. When viewers spend years watching an actor on television, that actor often becomes part of their lives. Families watched NCIS together. Parents introduced the show to their children. Episodes became part of weekly routines. As a result, any update involving Harmon immediately attracts attention. The reaction is not simply about celebrity gossip. For many people, it feels personal. That emotional connection explains why recent reports have spread so quickly online. In today's digital world, information travels faster than ever before. A single headline can reach millions of people within hours. Social media platforms amplify every rumor, every update, and every piece of speculation. Unfortunately, not all information is accurate. As discussions about Harmon gained momentum, fans often found themselves sorting through a mixture of facts, assumptions, and online theories. Some reports focused on his reduced public appearances. Others discussed his departure from NCIS. Many simply questioned what he might do next. Because Harmon has always valued privacy, official updates are relatively rare. That lack of constant public communication often creates an information vacuum. When answers are limited, speculation tends to grow. This pattern has become increasingly common in modern celebrity culture. A small piece of information appears online. Fans begin discussing it. News outlets repeat the story. Soon, millions of people are searching for details. The cycle continues. For Harmon, the attention demonstrates how much influence he still holds, even after stepping away from the role that made him a television icon. Years after his departure from regular appearances on NCIS, audiences remain deeply interested in his life and career. That level of loyalty is rare. Many television stars fade from public conversation shortly after leaving a successful series. Harmon did not. His impact continues to resonate. Part of that influence comes from the character he portrayed. Leroy Jethro Gibbs represented values that many viewers admired: strength, integrity, leadership, loyalty. Those qualities helped create one of television's most beloved characters. Over time, audiences began associating many of those traits with Harmon himself. Whether fair or not, that connection strengthened the bond between actor and audience. As clips from classic NCIS episodes appear on screen, viewers are reminded of just how significant that role became. Season after season, Gibbs served as the emotional center of the series. His leadership guided the team. His personal story added depth. His presence provided stability. The success of the show transformed Harmon into a global television figure. Yet his story extends far beyond a single role. Long before NCIS, he had already built a successful career. Long before Hollywood, he had excelled as an athlete. And throughout every stage of that journey, he maintained a reputation for professionalism and dedication. Those accomplishments help explain why people continue paying attention today. The public is not merely reacting to headlines. They are responding to a lifetime of work, a career that spans decades, a legacy built slowly through consistency rather than controversy. As recent discussions continue, one fact remains clear. Mark Harmon occupies a unique place in television history. Very few actors remain relevant across multiple generations. Even fewer maintain public respect for as long as he has. His story represents persistence. It represents discipline. And it represents the power of earning trust over time. Whether future headlines involve new projects, public appearances, or simply updates about his life, fans will likely continue paying attention. The interest is no longer driven solely by curiosity. It is driven by appreciation. People want to know how the story of someone they admired for decades continues to unfold. And perhaps that is the clearest sign of his lasting impact. Even after stepping away from the spotlight, Mark Harmon remains impossible to ignore. His journey from young athlete to television icon continues to inspire audiences around the world. The headlines may change. The rumors may come and go. The discussions may evolve. But the legacy remains. And for millions of fans, that legacy matters far more than any single news story. As new information continues to emerge, the question remains, what will the next chapter of Mark Harmon's story reveal? Call to action. If you enjoyed this documentary, be sure to like the video, subscribe